Okay, probably we can start right now. Okay, thank you so much for the time. Dan terima kasih teman-teman yang sudah bergabung di pagi hari ini ya. We highly appreciate that. I believe that you have a lot of things that you do, but you spare your time here for this event. And this is a great event. To be honest, this is the first event education USA done for in terms of like art, kind of the topic. So hopefully we get a lot of information, we get a lot of things, yeah. And today we have a four special guests, okay, from a four different school, art different school, and this is the best chance for you to talk with them about the art. Okay, especially the topic that we talked today is about understanding art school in the United States. So there is Anita from Chicago Art School, and then there's Christopher Loomis from California, and then ada juga um, Red Green is from Maryland Art School, and then the last one Anthony Micheli is from Detroit. Okay, okay. Jadi buat teman-teman semuanya nanti we're gonna do at 40 until 45 minute presentation, and then after presentation we're gonna take for the Q&A. If you have a question, you can type your question on the comment box. You can do either in Bahasa or English. In Bahasa, so I can translate it. Okay, while the Q&A. So okay, without further ado, okay, this is the best time for you to listen everything from them. And all right, okay, I hand over this to you for you, Anita.
Thank you so much for having us today and welcome. We are really excited to be here to talk about understanding art schools in the U.S. and a little bit about portfolio and what a portfolio looks like for art schools. So our four schools, we are called the Art Pod. And these are my colleagues. I'll let them reintroduce themselves again. Chris, if you want to start.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. My name is Christopher Loomis, and I'm a faculty representative from California College of the Arts in San Francisco, California.
Anthony?
Hello, everyone. My name is Anthony Maselli, and I'm the Director of Graduate and International Admissions at the College for Creative Studies, otherwise known as CCS, in Detroit, Michigan.
And Reb?
Hi, my name is Reb Green. I'm the Assistant Director of International Admission at the Maryland Institute College of Art, also known as MICA, in Baltimore, Maryland.
And again, my name is Anita Bardwaj, and I represent the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, also known as SAIC, located in downtown Chicago, Illinois. So we are all gathered here today. We are called the Art Pod, and we are all independent schools of art and design that belong to the Association of Independent Colleges of Art and Design, which is called ACAD. And it's a consortium of 60 or so, 36 leading art and design schools in the US. And we are a part of ACAD because ACAD holds us to a higher standard and a higher level of accreditation than other art and design schools in the US. So this is a very tight-knit group of elite art schools that offer services to art and design students, such as portfolio direction and feedback, as well as scholarships. And collectively, we educate over 50,000 undergraduate students every year between all of the art schools. So one of the benefits that you have of kind of visiting the ACAD site is that you can upload a few of your pieces of work and get some feedback from the colleges that you choose from that are a part of ACAD. So this is a free service. It's not an admission to the school, but it's an opportunity for you to get feedback directly from the people that admit students and provide you some direction on how to kind of tailor your portfolio for their particular school. The website's there, acad.org. And so we are delighted as a part of ACAD and our own Art Pod group to be with you today. So what we're going to do is we're going to briefly go through each of our schools very quickly, and then we'll get into a little bit of explanation about art schools and the different types of art schools in the US. And then that'll follow by a portfolio piece, a guidance around how you should be thinking about a portfolio, because all of our schools here and kind of all of the schools within ACAD require a portfolio for admission. So it's a really important part of your admission. So with that, we will start with CCA.
All right, I'm going to tell you a little bit about California College of the Arts. So founded in 1907, California College of the Arts was founded by Frederick Meyer in San Francisco Bay Area. And Frederick was a cabinet maker, and he really wanted to build theory and practice into the curriculum. San Francisco is our main campus and home to our first-year programs and student housing. First and second-year students will live on campus in our Founders Hall, and which provides full-scale dining options. The college's creative culture is built around the ideals of interdisciplinary collaboration, sustainability, community engagement, and social equity. Offering 22 undergraduate programs, including a new major in game arts, CCA educates students to shape culture and society through the practice and critical study of art, architecture, design, and writing. You can also see the STEM-designated programs listed with an asterisk. These programs give students an additional 2 years on their student visa for OPT training. CCA's emphasis on connecting art and culture is mirrored in our curriculum, including our critical ethnic studies classes. CCA is the only art and design school in the world that requires students of all majors to take critical ethnic studies classes. These courses are dedicated to social justice and equity from local, national, and international perspectives. Being in San Francisco gives students chances to engage with a vibrant creative community. San Francisco is home to hundreds of art galleries, many world-class museums like the SF MoMA and Silicon Valley tech companies. 85% of CCA students intern with Bay Area-based companies like Adobe, Levi's, IDEO, and Google, and many go on to work at these same Bay Area companies. In fact, CCA is rated #1 for return on investment by PayScale. We have small class sizes with an 8-to-1 student-to-faculty ratio, allowing students to build up a mentorship relationship with their faculty. And lastly, CCA believes in having an interdisciplinary curriculum. This means that students are encouraged to take classes across multiple disciplines, meaning that you're not confined to one perspective or one way of making. For example, as a graphic design major, you're able to take classes in animation or furniture or sculpture and so on. CCA has over 80 shops, studios, and lab spaces that support all departments, programs, and students. Thanks.
Hello again. The College for Creative Studies is a 4-year nonprofit college offering both bachelor's and master's degrees programs. CCS was founded over 100 years ago during the arts and crafts movement, and we have about 1,400 students with a 9-to-1 student-to-faculty ratio. We have been named a best value school by both PayScale and Money Magazine. CCS is proud to be located in Detroit, Michigan, which is in the Midwest of the United States. Detroit has a rich history of art and innovation, along with having the #1 concentration of design occupations. Detroit was named the first and currently only UNESCO City of Design in the United States. Cities with this designation are all committed to using design as a tool for economic development. This is something you will experience throughout our curriculum. There are many exciting things happening in the city, such as Apple recently choosing to open the nation's first developer academy in Detroit. CCS has direct entry programs, which means you will apply to the department of your choice with the major specific courses starting in that first semester. This is different from schools who may have a full foundation year before a major is declared. In the center, you will see a list of our undergraduate programs. Our crafts and material studies department is quite robust due to our history, but some of our more popular majors are animation, game design, and illustration. We also have some unique programs such as concept design, where students create elements used in films or animations such as spaceships, developing environments, and characters. Although we are founded as a craft school, to this day, we're internationally known for our product design and transportation design programs. Michigan has a #1 concentration of commercial and industrial designers, along with 3 major automotive brands. This allows us to have a direct connection with those industries, and oftentimes our faculty are still working in those fields. 7 of these undergraduate programs hold STEM designation, which can lead to up to a 2-year extension of OPT that's totaling 3 years of potential work on your student visa. These programs are communication design, product design, transportation design, and all sections within entertainment arts. CCS also has a career development office that provides a number of opportunities to connect with industry professionals through internship, industry days, portfolio reviews, and corporate sponsored projects. These projects use classroom skills in real-world situations to prepare for direct entry into the industry. An example of this is a recent sponsored project with Vectorform and Epic Games, who had undergraduate game design students and graduate transportation design students exploring future concepts for interactions within vehicle interiors, as well as the surrounding connected environments. Offerings like these lead CCS students to a 97% employment rate within the first year of graduating. Thank you.
Okay. The Maryland Institute College of Art was founded in 1826. MICA is the oldest continuously degree-granting college of art and design in the US and is consistently ranked among the top 10 colleges of art and design in the nation. MICA has about 3,500 students on campus in our undergraduate, graduate, and open studies programs, with a 30% international student population coming from 52 different countries. MICA is located in the city of Baltimore, the state of Maryland, and in the heart of the East Coast Art Corridor, with close proximity to major urban hubs like Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, and New York City. MICA's beautiful urban campus is within 5 blocks to the center of the city, and each major in our campus buildings has either an entire floor or even an entire building to itself. There are also 3 apartment-style residence halls where students will live on campus for their first 2 years. MICA is developing a new generation of artists and designers, one that possesses both creative and critical thought processes through an education that is uniquely integrative, customizable, entrepreneurial, and purpose-driven. MICA offers 26 undergraduate majors, which you would declare at the end of MICA's customizable first-year experience. All of our majors then allow you to take electives in any department. You can also select from 21 minors, study abroad programs, and if you wish to continue studies, 20 graduate programs. MICA's majors span from the traditional to the cutting edge, including painting, sculpture, illustration, product design, architectural design, and our new ecosystem sustainability and justice major. MICA students can also take courses at any of the 13 universities in the Baltimore network for free through our Baltimore Student Exchange program, which includes neighboring Johns Hopkins University. MICA is a leading contributor to the global creative economy, with alumni who are working at internationally recognized companies like Apple and Google, Nike, Adobe, and Disney. MICA has consistently been a top producer of Fulbright scholars, and our alum are also frequently featured on the Forbes 30 Under 30 list. A recent survey of our graduating class revealed that 95% of students were either employed in a creative industry or had gone on to graduate school just 9 months after earning their MICA degree, which is a testament as to how well MICA prepares students to be successful. To further support the entrepreneurial focus of our students and alumni, professional and career development is built into every major. 70% of our students complete at least one internship in their time at MICA. We have also developed a minor in creative entrepreneurship, which can be attached to any major and culminates in an annual Upstart Venture Capital competition where MICA awards up to $100,000 to graduating students and alumni to help finance projects and start sustainable businesses. MICA really understands the need for financial support and offers generous 4-year scholarship opportunities for international students that are both merit-based and competitive. Thank you.
And so on to the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, also known as SAIC. So SAIC was founded in 1866 and is one of the most historically significant nonprofit independent schools of art and design in the U.S., offering both undergraduate and graduate degrees. SAIC is currently ranked in the top 5 of art and design schools in the U.S. for our undergraduate programs and second for our grad program in fine arts by U.S. News and World Reports, and recently ranked number 7 out of 220 U.S. and international colleges by QS World and University rankings. SAIC is also ranked in the top 5 for our programs in fiber arts, painting and drawing, photography, printmaking, sculpture, and time-based media, which includes film and new media. We're also a producer of Fulbright Scholars, and recently we had 5 alums that were named Guggenheim Fellows, which is an absolute distinction, and we're very proud of them. So our student population is made up of about 33% international students. So that's about over 1,200 international students on our campus, and they're coming from 67 different countries all over the world. We have an 8-to-1 student-faculty ratio, so it's pretty intimate. A couple things to note about SAIC that makes us distinct and unique is that, one, we are a true museum campus. So one of our most incredible resources is the Art Institute of Chicago. It's a museum that holds the 3rd largest collection of art in the entire world, behind the Louvre and the Met, and is also consistently ranked among the top best museums globally. What's interesting about the museum is that the museum was actually founded by SAIC faculty as an educational tool and still remains one of our greatest teaching resources. So the museum is a true extension of the studio and the classroom at SAIC. So you can imagine yourself in a painting and drawing studio, in a photography lab, in a art history class, and taking some of that time in studio or during class to go over to the museum to look at the works, take advantage of the many libraries that are within the museum, take a look at the special collections, go to the private study lounge, and observe and view other collections that are only available for our students. It's an absolutely incredible resource for our students. Next is our interdisciplinary curriculum. So we are unique in that we have no majors and no grades. So what this allows students to do is really, really experiment and take risks in their art making when they're developing their practice. So students are encouraged to take courses across 18 different departments. You're curating your own curriculum, so you're picking and choosing those areas that will help your artist practice thrive. If you are interested in design, we also have a design curriculum, and those pathways are architecture, interior architecture, fashion, visual communication design, which is also graphic design, and designed objects, which is also industrial design. So designed objects is designing objects. So that could be furniture, products, surgical equipment, prosthetics, whatever it is. If it's an object, you can certainly design those in our designed objects area. We also have a very rigorous liberal arts curriculum that requires credits in social sciences, natural sciences, humanities, English composition. If you're interested in math and biology and psychology, you can take those classes as well. But we really believe that our liberal arts classes bring an intellectual backbone to your art and design practice. We also have over 90% of our alums that graduate from SAIC are employed within 6 months within some sort of creative field. We're very proud of that. The other thing about SAIC is that we have a very robust internship program. So students can enjoy anywhere from 1 to 4 internships across their course of study, getting real-world experience in any scale of gallery or corporation or creative environment that you choose. We also have partnerships with the likes of Crate and Barrel, CB2, Bosch, Samsung, Motorola. These companies come directly into the studio in the classrooms, and they ideate and create with students, create new ideas and products and services that actually make it to the real world. And then finally, our beloved faculty. Our faculty is world renowned. You should Google all of them to see where they're exhibiting. But they exhibit not only within the city of Chicago, but they are exhibiting worldwide in many biennials. They have vibrant practices, artistic practices, and they bring this kind of real world experience into the classroom to help SAIC students become 21st century artists. So that's a little bit about SAIC, and we will get on to kind of the bulk of the presentation, and we'll just start out with what it means to study art in the US.
All right, thanks everybody for those awesome introductions. So in this presentation, these are the questions that we're gonna answer. What is art school? Are they all the same? Can I really earn a degree in art? What will I study? And can I get a job in the arts? But first I want to talk about accreditation. And accreditation is the recognition from an accrediting agency that an institution maintains a certain level of educational standards. And all our schools here today are accredited. So schools should be accredited by one of the 7 regional sectors of the Council for Higher Education Accreditation, and you can see the following there. But then there's special accreditation bodies for art school. There's the National Association of Schools of Art and Design, National Architectural Accrediting Board, and the Council for Interior Design Accreditation. So particularly if you're interested in those things like architecture and interior design, these are wonderful outside sort of oversight organizations that make sure that the standards are the highest for that education. Okay, so these are the different types of art schools. There's the 4-year art-focused school. These are what most people associate with art school. Art-focused schools are competitive, but the focus of that school will be on you, the arts, and an art-focused career. And that's what all of us are. And art departments within a larger college or university that offer liberal arts degrees and general education. There's more options to take coursework outside of the creative areas. And this would be something like the university system, University of Michigan, so on and so forth. And then vocational schools, which are technical schools and proprietary schools. The focus is on a skill, often not accredited and sometimes expensive. The credits are non-transferable and no graduate school options, and they can vary greatly in quality. It's also important to know the difference between for-profit and non-profit colleges, as it's one of the major differences between how schools are run. For-profit colleges are mostly funded through student tuition and money from investors and subsidiary businesses. For-profit organizations aim to maximize profits and forward these profits to the company's owners and shareholders. Non-profit colleges, like all of us here today, often receive significant financial support from state and federal government bodies, along with private endowments or grants. Tuition and fees also contribute to revenue. However, the big difference is that nonprofit colleges are mission-driven organizations, with the emphasis being on education and services instead of gaining profit. And this is the important part. Profits are regularly reinvested in student scholarships. So all of our schools have really robust scholarships because of that.
I'll touch on the differences between 2 types of art degrees, a Bachelor of Fine Arts or BFA, or a Bachelor of Arts BA. The BFA experience will focus more on the development of a studio practice. For example, 2/3 of your coursework time is spent exploring an art or design major, like photography, fiber, graphic design, etc., with the remaining 1/3 spent focusing on courses in liberal arts, all of which will also really inform your art making processes and major. An example of how this might roll out during the first year could be 3 or 4 studio classes and 1 art history class in the fall semester, and 3 to 4 studio classes and 1 humanistic studies class in the spring. A BA degree places more focus on liberal arts classes and less on the making part. The BA experience is more broad and umbrellas a whole host of fields. I mentioned a few typical art school majors or areas of study on the prior slide, but here is a more extensive list. Some of these might be more familiar, like the more fine art majors like painting, drawing, photography. But to give some clarity on some of these design majors, there's industrial design, encompassing creating objects of function for mass production, or product design, which signifies designing a more unique object, typically on a smaller scale. And they both combine art, business, and engineering. Additionally, interaction design focuses on meaningful communication of media through collaborative processes between people and technology. And then we've listed a couple others here as well, like animation, film, architecture, jewelry and metal, wearables, even art history and creative writing.
Okay, so there's a difference in curriculum too, especially in 4-year art schools. So those are the art schools that are primarily focused on art or design. So one curriculum path is focused and has focus and technical programs, right? So you can apply directly into a major and start the program your very first year. These are called direct entry programs. So CCS is actually a very good example of this. So another curriculum pathway is concept-based programs. So where majors are flexible, students' interests, and you can shape the course of your curriculum and studies. And then the next is concept and technique. So this is where schools' development of craft and push conceptual thinking. Oftentimes these schools have a first-year foundation program where all of the freshmen take the same classes. So you may find yourself in a 2D class, a 3D class, a 4D class, an art history class, and some sort of liberal arts program. So for that first year of discovery, and an elective. So that first year of discovery, you're really building a foundation to launch you into whatever your particular interest is. So next we're going to go... Now we're going to talk about portfolios. So I'm going to jump right in here. So what exactly is a portfolio? Well, it is probably the single most important part of your art school application. So generally there's four parts, 3 to 4 parts. Your portfolio is very, very important, and it's important because it is evaluated for merit scholarship, right? That, along with some sort of writing, whether it's an artist statement or an artist prompt, your grades, and any sort of extra activities. So that's activities and recommendations that you may get. But essentially, a portfolio of a body of work, or a portfolio, is a selection of your work compiled over a period of time and is used for assessing performance or progress, particularly at whatever state you are right now in your creative progress. So we generally look for creative that you've made, art that you've made in the last 2 to 3 years. So this gives us a really good indication of where your present skill level is. So it should demonstrate your creativity, your personality, your abilities, your passion, your commitment around making art. You can also use work that you have created not only in art classes, but work that you've also created out of class, your personal work. Oftentimes the personal work tells us a lot more about what you're passionate about. It tells us a lot more about you as an individual, and that's really, we're interested in you as an individual. So what does it represent? What do the pieces represent? Well, your portfolio should absolutely represent your best work. It should give us some sort of insight into your personal journey and your influences, what motivates you, kind of the way that you're challenging yourself to communicate through artistic means. And it's really important to note here that sometimes it's not about how well you create, but what you choose to create that reveals the most about you. Okay, so the good news is that we see portfolios submitted in a variety of ways. There's no single right way, as long as it's your work, it's your best work, it's documented properly, and it's curated in a way that tells a story, right? So some examples of the way we see portfolios submitted are: one, a work in a series. So this is you taking a particular topic that you're interested in and developing iterations of that around that same topic in a single medium or multiple media. Next is media or medium focus. So maybe your entire portfolio is all paintings. That's absolutely fine. Or perhaps you are a digital illustrator and your portfolio consists of all digital illustrations, or a photographer and it's all photography. That's absolutely fine. Next, we see experimental, and it's absolutely my favorite. This is when you are challenging yourself to mash together different mediums. So you may be using found object, collage, painting and drawing, all in one piece. So this is you really experimenting with the medium to communicate a particular idea. Next, we see concept driven. So this is you exploring a topic or multiple topics that you're very obsessed with. It could be your cultural identity, your personal identity, and you're doing this through graphic design, painting, drawing, color, whatever, what have you. The next is observation and content. So this is you making distinct observations of the environment around you and your interpretation of that. So it's not you just drawing a bowl of fruit the way it looks, but it's your interpretation of that fruit. So what would it look like if that bowl of fruit was in a food desert, where there are no grocery stores, there's no access to food? How different would that bowl of fruit look? So that's when we're talking about that. And then breadth. That's a mastery of your skills across multiple media. So maybe you have a particular expertise in ceramics and painting and digital illustration. So you're really combining all of that to showcase your skills. And next, the big question: how many pieces or projects should you submit? Remember, it is really, really important that you research every single school that you want to apply to. All of us have different kind of criteria around the portfolio that you should submit. So it's really important that you kind of keep track of what CCA wants versus SAIC versus MICA, etc. It's really important. Any of our schools will ask for a number, they'll give you a range, right? We'll ask you for 10 to 15 pieces. What's really important is that we're looking for quality over quantity. So if you have 10 absolutely amazing pieces and SAIC is saying submit 10 to 15, resist the urge to just throw in 5 extra pieces just because you want to hit the number 15. We're going to evaluate your portfolio on the quality of the work, not on the quantity of it. So if you have 10 pieces that are rock solid, submit that. If you submit the extra 5, more than likely it will affect your merit scholarship, because it'll bring the points down in how we evaluate your portfolio. So remember, quality over quantity.
And show us your technical skills. Showcasing these can help an artist develop a body of work. Think of a medium you excel in or wish to improve upon, and use that as the foundation as you develop your portfolio. Think about how this skill set is communicating your overall concept and ideas. Drawing is fundamental. Consider showing how you translate weight, shape, and movement of 3D objects in 2D space. Your perspective and point of view is unique, so don't be afraid to showcase that in your portfolio. If there's a subject matter that's important to you, why not address that? Your portfolio is your chance to stand out amongst the rest. So what is your story? Is there a part of you or your background, your culture, your ideas, your likes or dislikes that you can share? What makes you, you? And try digging a little deeper into the ideas you're exploring. There are layers to everything. It doesn't have to be surface level ideas, and it's okay to show work in progress ideas too, or the start of a larger series or project. So be conceptual. Sometimes our ideas are deeper than they first seem, or even better than the finished product. And it's okay to share that in your portfolio too. And we want to see your journey from start to finish. Providing that additional information gives the viewers insight into your thought process, and it's a great way to engage us further as we follow you through your journey of creating the piece. We want to understand how you think of as an artist, and process work gives us insight into your thought process. So what is your process? Did you start with a thumbnail? Did you consider different points of view? Seeing where you ended up in the context of where you started can reveal a lot about your artistic process.
So after you've compiled your collection of fantastic artworks, you'll need to document them in order to share them with admission counselors. Documenting in the most professional way possible has the power to benefit your work greatly. This means taking great quality photographs with high resolution, enough light, with the correct orientation, and with clean borders and edges. Again, this reminder to consider the phrase quality over quantity, show your strongest work and omit weaker pieces, even if they display more variety. Additionally, practice speaking and writing about your work, asking yourself, how has this idea or piece evolved? Have I explored multiple visual solutions? How has my intent and message been captured? Or what should be left open to the viewer's interpretation? A few ways to be mindful during documentation. Remember that the admissions teams are reviewing your work digitally on the screen, so be sure to consider appropriate spacing between images, the scale of each image, include detail shots if necessary, all while placing the pieces in an intentional order that curates a narrative or tells a visual story. Provide us with the necessary context in this way, but also by adding robust explanations in the available description boxes. This is an example of the slide room platform. This is also a reminder that it's really excellent to include a few works that show your skill in observational drawing. So this could be life drawing, figure drawing, no matter what your intended major is. To the right, you'll see here the title, the aspects, and the description of the piece, all which help to provide the context that I previously mentioned. As artists, we are visual storytellers, but it's also important to be able to verbally express about your pieces. It's also super important not to crowd the slides and to really be not afraid to experiment. Experimentation is welcome and also encouraged. Risk-taking and exploration are necessary to up-leveling your practice. While we recommend, of course, including the strongest works, which have probably been made in a medium that you're familiar with, see if you can combine mediums, continue an existing idea in a new medium, or try a different way of working to yield new results, but not at the sacrifice of quality.
Don't forget to have fun. You should have fun when you're developing your portfolio. It's about showcasing you as an artist and your original ideas and what you are interested in. Sometimes those gifts that you make and send to your friends or other items that you don't use for assignments may be the strongest works of art because they are unfiltered and they really show us how you're thinking when you're not prompted by an assignment. And lastly, we just want to highlight a few things to avoid. If you are creating artwork that is manga, anime inspired, or fan art of existing characters or celebrities, We really encourage that you do not include that in your portfolio when applying to art school. Even though these pieces can be something that you enjoy creating in your free time, they're likely not going to be the best pieces to display your skills. We really want to see your creative and original ideas. If you use a photo as a reference to your work, make sure that it's a photograph that you've taken or photographs that you've compiled together to make one original artwork. You're more than welcome to use them as a reference, but original reference of work is really going to stand out in your portfolio. The last few things that I want to highlight are documentation and process. So if you enjoy doodling or sketching out ideas when you're in class, home, or out and about, always try to carry around a small sketchbook with you so that it's clean paper and that it clearly showcases what you've created rather than getting lost on lined paper. When documenting your work through photographing it, try to take it at a 90-degree angle. You can see on this slide, there's an individual who photographed 2 paintings in one scene on a table with lots of distracting elements and use a photo filter. It's really difficult for us to see exactly what the artwork is or what the individual is trying to show us within their portfolio. Try to make sure that it's clear without any distractions. We don't want to see your pencils or other materials in the photograph. We really want to just focus on the artwork itself. And then, of course, the last one is about documenting a portfolio piece with screenshots from social media. Obviously, we understand that things happen. We lose physical items. Technology fails us. We lose all of our files. And the only way to show our artwork is through a screenshot of a social account. If this is your only option, please be sure to always crop it out so that the art is the only image we see, as it is uploaded directly as an original file. We are happy to see that individuals' friends like and comment on an image on the slide, but it pulls our attention away from the artwork. So these are just some additional recommendations, and then we'll move on to scholarships. So,
sorry about that, Anthony. Were you finished with that? Were you finished with that one slide? I'm sorry.
That's all right. Yep.
Okay, great. So this is our last slide, and then we want to take some questions from you all. So get ready with those questions. So funding your U.S. tuition, really, really important. There's 2 pathways to do it. One is internally. This is why we are talking about portfolio today, because it's so important, because it's a wonderful opportunity for you to get merit scholarship based on your application to the school. So the merit scholarships come directly from the school. They grant you money towards tuition over 4 years over the course of studies, or up to a certain amount of credits. So that's really important, money that you don't have to pay back. The other is outside. So the inside is from the university directly. Outside are from other resources. So take a screenshot of this and go to each one of these websites and start searching for scholarships. There are plenty of scholarships out there for international students, but you will need to do the homework to be able to get those and to apply to them. And if you are, no matter what grade you are in, 9, 10, 11, 12, start researching these scholarships now, because oftentimes the deadlines to apply for these scholarships are happening all of the time. So it's really very important that you start this first. Even if you haven't started getting your portfolio together, start searching for scholarships and start applying for those scholarships. And if you need some assistance in terms of writing your statements and such, you can always reach out to an admissions counselor for a little bit of assistance with any of this. But this is something that you can start now. The merit scholarship comes later, after you actually have your portfolio and your writing samples and all of that together. So with that, we will leave with our, let me just get back to our contact slide here so that you can reach out to us. We are having ArtPod is having a portfolio event, and I'll put that in the chat here at the end. But if you have any questions at all, please put them in the chat, and we're happy to answer them as they come up. or raise your hand.
Okay. Emily Subroto. Okay. Uh, my name is Emily. I'm 18 years old, and I have a question for all schools. Is it possible to transfer credit from community college? Is it possible? Is it possible to start school from the second or the third year? Okay. Anybody?
From a community college?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you would enter as a transfer student. We have, in fact, I can speak for myself. I'll let my colleagues speak for the other schools, but I know at SAIC, I would say about 80% of our transfer student, or maybe 70% of our transfer students have attended or graduated from a community college, like they're 2 years in or a year into a community college, where they've taken the time to either maintain a really good GPA or start creating work to create a robust portfolio. Our transfer students are also eligible for scholarship and merit scholarship.
Okay. Hope it answer the questions here from Emily Subroto. Okay, I'm so glad, Anita, you put the scholarship, option so people can see, take a look, and then take a look for the option for the scholarship so they can prepare themselves. Okay, is there any other question or anybody want to unmute, want to ask the question directly to a panelist? Anybody? If you want, you can raise your hand so you can ask the question. So while waiting for the questions, okay, the question from me, Anita, or other team as well. You guys talk a lot about bachelor, BFA for getting for the undergraduate program. So if you can tell a little bit how, because most of the attendance today is, I can say like half of them is right now studying in the university, and probably in the future they want to start their master's degree in the United States. So if that happens, how they can start the program for the master's degree in the United States, some of the admission. Okay, if anybody wants to answer that question.
I think we'll let Anthony answer that one.
So much like undergraduate, it's very important for an individual to look at all their schools of interest. So you're going to be very specific when you're choosing a post-baccalaureate or a master's degree program. So of course, do your research first. You want to make sure that you find the appropriate program for you. While doing that, you're going to want to do a number of different things. Look at the program, look at the curriculum, make sure that's the best fit for your experience and what you're looking to go into. And then of course, look at the admissions requirements. The admissions requirements are very different from the undergraduate process. We do require, a number of schools require a portfolio as part of that process. And of course, your undergraduate, your bachelor's degree transcripts. But there also may be some specific other elements that they're looking for. So of course, there's most likely a resume or what we call a CV. There could be letters of recommendation. There could be a personal statement or an essay. So again, you're going to want to look at those individual schools for what they are looking for in an application. And then a little bit different than the undergraduate process is a lot of the wonderful representatives on this call are involved in reviewing and interviewing and admitting students for the undergraduate programs. That tends to vary for graduate programs. So in my role, I assist the applicants through the process. So I'll answer any questions they have about admissions or CCS specifically. And then what the next step is for them to communicate with the program chair or faculty member to learn a little bit more about the program, possibly have an admissions interview, and then move forward through that process. So a lot of graduate schools, their chairs and faculty members are much more engaged and involved in the admissions process than you're going to get at an undergraduate level. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah,
That's an
it's
excellent.
clear, very clear answer. Okay, that's nice. Okay, others yang lain ada pertanyaan mungkin? If if you don't want to say in English, you can say in bahasa so I can translate it. Kalau misalnya tidak berani ngomong bahasa bahasa Inggris, you can say it bahasa. So anybody want to ask a question in bahasa Indonesia or want to ask a question directly? Ada? Anybody? Okay. Okay. So while waiting, others asking for the questions. Okay, another question for me. I got a lot of questions from parents, especially when they want to send their students studying art in the United States. And the question is, how my kids gonna work in the future because you're taking art, okay, taking art school, and no future here. That's what they found. Okay, so if you can tell us a little bit and where most of the students end up after they graduate. Okay, whether they start their own company or did you work in the big company or government or anything. If you can tell us a little bit about that, that might be great.
Excellent question. Also a classic question.
Mm-hmm.
Life after art school. It varies. It really does. You know, something that we didn't talk about art schools is there's kind of different, I guess, you know, kind of approaches to studying art and design. So let's say if you're someone that's more interested in a fine art life where you're painting or sculpting or doing poetry or doing experimental sound design, you know, this is a wonderful philosophical and applied life, but it is challenging and such to make money. So a lot of times these artists will choose things such as this slide says. You know, you can use those art school, that creative education that you get to work in some of these occupations. For instance, I studied sculpture at the School of the Art Institute Chicago, and because of the skills I got, I was able to work assisting artists in their studios. I was able to work with furniture designers and so forth. So, you know, it was really, I was really going into kind of a more of an entrepreneurial, self-employed occupation so I could spend time on my work. Now, if you were to study like graphic design or architecture or industrial design, then the typically a student will go into a company, and you know, you can do an internship in part of your school. I think at CCA it's the junior year, but then you start forming relationships with companies, and most times you will work with a company or you will start your own studio or office. So you know, it's not without challenges, but it's again that kind of creative thinking that you learn from art school, as well as the technical skills, can really apply to so many things.
I have something to add to that, and that's actually kind of my personal story. So I studied undergrad. I studied visual communication design, which is graphic design. I went on and worked for a greeting card company, and within that greeting card company, I was able to not only do graphic design, but that exposed me to 3D design, designed objects, and then I went from there. I went into I was exposed to editorial and writing. And then from there, I actually went over to marketing and was able to do sales promotions and marketing. I was doing also retail design, so designing space within retail spaces, store design, department design. So think about actually one of the jobs that I worked on for the greeting card company was I redesigned their whole greeting card department within a Target store, within a department store. So that's kind of retail design. But then I was recruited to GE, and I worked at GE for 14 years. And I did everything from product design to marketing to packaging design to advertising to brand management to developing websites to app design to global brand design, redesign. So I think that it's the critical thinking skills that really took me to all those places. It was that those learnings that I learned, like the basic principles of design, and applied them to everything. And I also think that there's a willingness and a kind of a need to explore that artists have that takes them to new places. Again, I'll say that if in any one of these fields listed here, if you drill down deeper, there's multiple creative jobs within any of these fields. If you take an architect firm, in an architect firm, there's a small number of architects, but there are brand managers, there are interior designers, there are photographers, there are people that work with fiber and sculpture, interior architecture. There's all of those other creative jobs within one architecture firm. So, you could take animation too. Within the animation field, if you are obsessed about animation, there are writers in animation. There are design artists that just work on color. They decide the color of each little thing within an animation. There are designers that work on texture, like different textures within an animation. So there's literally like so many jobs within any field. And then if you go to work for a big company like I did, I worked for a consumer products company and a business to business company. There were a lot of different job opportunities there. And then lastly, I'll say an example of one of our alums, an SAIC alum, who started out in painting and drawing, and then she found herself in film. And then she decided that she wanted to go into animation, so she kind of studied those things while she was at school. Her name is Amy Lawson Smead, and she was the first female art director at Disney. And she, incredible. And she started out in painting and drawing, and she was able to take those skills and transfer them and discovering new medium that she was really interested in, and took her to animation and took her to Disney. So I think that there's money to be had. The average salary for a creative person is out of school is $57,000.
Right.
The cultural
Right.
economy is growing faster than
I know.
most of the STEM areas.
Yeah, that's what I want to try to say, because in the past, people are trying to look at STEM areas, and right now, in the STEM area itself, they put art on it, so they can STEM and art is combined all together. So don't be afraid if you try to find art. Okay, there's another question. My name is Wisnu. I love watching movies and start to go deep into it. Does SAIC or if AIC provide any recommendation to learn movie stuff? Okay, Anita, this is for you.
This is actually for all of us because all of us have film, film and new media. All of our schools have that, and it is, it really is up to you all, the student, to touch base with the admissions counselor, get exposed to the school, find out what they're doing, find out what their alum are doing. Go search for alum, go to the websites, find out what the faculty are doing and what they're producing. Go and read the course descriptions from each one of our colleges, and you'll find that they differ based on the teaching pedagogy, like how they teach. The philosophy of teaching at each school is different, but many of our film, we have an amazing film department. It's mostly experimental film, but many of our film people also get involved with video development, and you can't go to a website, any website you go to, and there's 100 videos on it wanting you to click on it. Those are all done by designers, all from some sort of a video or film background. So there's the commercial side of it, and then there's the artistic side of it, experimental, more fine art part of it. A lot of opportunity in film right now. A lot of opportunity. I don't know if anybody else wants to speak to your various film departments, but everything on the web is video.
You really summed it up well, Anita, but I would say to that question also, just immerse yourself in film and just watch and absorb as much as you can. I put in the chat an organization called the Criterion Collection. And the Criterion Collection is basically every film made that's considered, I guess, culturally significant, from all around the world. So just be a sponge and absorb as much film as you can. That's super important.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's nice. Well, watch a ton of film of the 2019. Okay, it's 11 right now. Okay, that's the last question, okay. My name is Rafli, undergraduate from music position at the Institute of the Arts, Jakarta. I want to ask about possibility for music studies, especially for master's degree.
For a master's degree in what? In
Music studies.
Oh, in music. Okay. So specifically for SAIC, and then I'll let my colleagues chime in here. We have a sound program. So if you go to saic.edu and look up sound, you'll see where our sound program is. Now, some of our students that go into sound at SAIC, a master's in sound, they definitely, go on to do, write music for cinema and theater and etc. But there's a large number of students, master's students in particular, that seek out SAIC because of its experimental sound
Sarah,
program.
ini item name-nya apa?
You can go ahead.
Oh, so experimental sound versus like commercial sound work. So there's a difference there, similar to video, cinema, film. The experimental sound, again, if you go to the website, you can look and read some of the courses, kind of really, and that's what you really need to do. If you're looking for a graduate program, you have to dig deep and do your research like Anthony was talking about. You need to read what the courses are, read what the descriptions are, read about the faculty that are teaching those classes, because those faculty are going to be your mentors. They are going to be the ones that are guiding you through, the process of your master's and supporting you and mentoring you along the way. And so there has to be some sort of alignment in what your goals and objectives are for music, for studying music. Is it fine art or is it cinema? You have to make that decision and find the school that has faculty that supports that pedagogy, that teaching philosophy.
And also
Right.
just to
Okay.
add to that, and really, music is so broad. Is it composition that you're after? Because composition is very different than experimental sound. It can include that, but if you wanna learn theory and such, you could touch on it, but be really clear about what you want, and again, make sure that you study the school and the faculty closely.
Okay. Any other? Yeah, that's what I'm trying to. Okay. Because the time is 11 already. Okay. So for those who want to contact directly with the Christopher, Anthony, or Anita Rap Green, so there is their email on the screen that you can capture if you need it. So in the future, if you want to talk a little bit in terms of the admission kind of the questions, you can ask them. Okay, so before we close, is there any question concerning anything?
You can also scan the QR code and that'll take you to a form where you can sign up for workshops and portfolio reviews that ArtPod is hosting, and send your questions there as well, and we'll make sure that somebody gets back to you, one of us gets back to you, or all of us.
Okay. All right.
Thank you so much,
Yes.
everybody.
Thank
for
you so much.
participating.
Thank you so much, Anita. Thank you so much, Christopher, Anthony, Rap, for the time. And
Pleasure.
thank you so much for the participants. All right. Okay. I think that is it. All right.
Okay.
Hopefully we can do another art event in the future. So yeah. Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good night. Bye.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.